Hello everyone, this is going to be a tier list on every single Sabotage and perk in Project Playtime. We're going to start with Blindness. Blindness gives the blindness effect to every single survivor, not the monster. And the survivor will gain a foggy vision for a set interval of time, which increases as you level it up. And it's very handy because it prevents players from being able to see escape points. For example, cannot see lockers, cannot see crash doors, cannot see any grappling sections or anything. This will help for chasing down players that are semi-new to certain maps, but in terms of pros, which know the map inside and out, it won't help as much. So I'm going to put it in A tier. It's a pretty good perk overall. You can use it anytime and it doesn't affect you, so that's very helpful. And it'll just make the survivors go aimlessly throughout the entire map, unless they're pro. Next is going to be the Indicator. The Indicator Sabotage. Indicator Sabotage basically prevents survivors from being able to see any of the indicators on the map. This includes helping other players helping other players with puzzle pillars, where toy parts are, where the train is, and where to pull down the suction to get the toy into the train, and others like that. And they're not going to have access to be able to see where that is. This is ultimately a very bad perk overall. It doesn't really help that players don't really need to know all that. They have complete visibility otherwise, and half the time you don't really need to know where these things are. So I'll put this at D tier because it's overall pretty bad perk overall. Next one is going to be the trick. I forgot to call this one. It basically places a trap on nearby pillars. It goes to 2, 3, and then 4 puzzle pillars. It basically goes like this. So as you activate the ability, every single puzzle pillar, well, not every single one, a set amount of puzzle pillars within your area will be booby trapped. And as players try to solve the puzzles on the puzzle pillar, it will not only notify you where they are, but deal damage to them. This is very, very helpful. Unfortunately, it doesn't do a lot of damage. It does around the same damage as one of the Boxy Boo hits, which if you're playing as Mummy or Huggy Wuggy, it doesn't help. The damage doesn't help. So it's very, very minimal amount of damage. So it's not as good as you would think, but the booby traps giving away their position is very, very, very helpful. I'll put this at B tier overall because although there's like little to no damage, it is helpful with knowing how each of the players can be found much easier. Although it has a long cooldown, you can put on a lot of pillars. Next is I'll just summarize it. I'm not going to give it a name. It basically throws all downed players in the map into the sewers without you needing to put them into a vent. This is very, very helpful if you are going on a massacre. For example, there's multiple people in a room and you have just downed all of them and one is getting away. It's going to take significantly more time to put each individual downed survivor into their own vent. And with that time taken up, you will not be able to chase that final survivor. Using this perk prevents that from happening, and it's actually very, very helpful. Although I hear it's a little bugged, I hope they will fix it soon. So I'm gonna put it as a good A tier, I would say. Although it's a little bugged and it's not 100% necessary, it does help you get the game over faster and allow you to get extra survivors if necessary, so one can't escape from you. Although it puts it in like a random vent, so that's not gonna really help in the future. Next is crashing all the crash doors. This perk on the very right here. This perk is overall one of the worst perks, I would have to say. What it does, it automatically closes all crash doors in the entire game. If you don't know what a crash door is, it's a thing that you pull down with the pulley to stop a monster from chasing you. Although it's one of the most handy ways to prevent a monster from chasing you and getting away. Overall, not a lot of players use the crash doors anyways. In fact, even though they're closed, sometimes it even prevents you from getting to places which you need to be. So it can be very annoying. Although it does allow you to close a crash door preemptively if it looks like a survivor is about to use it. But either way, it's a pretty bad perk. I'm gonna put it at a good C tier. It's not good. It has like 1 or 2 uses. Next is Sabotage. Sabotage is a pretty good perk. Sabotage basically allows you to prevent all puzzle pillars from being used at all, and forces players to repair at nearby generators so that the puzzle pillars can be used again. Although the puzzle pillars overall doesn't help you fight survivors, it just prevents survivors from using the puzzle pillars. It does help you lure survivors into places where you don't want them to be. Unfortunately, there are 2 generators throughout the entire map, so although it's impossible to camp one of the generators because the other one could be fixed. And although it does give you a notification of where they are, but also gives the players a notification of where they are. But here's the thing: this sabotage will never be undone automatically, unlike all the other, except for the booby trap. Unlike all the other perks, sabotage lasts forever until a survivor fixes it. It also has a mediocre cooldown, so it's actually pretty good, surprisingly. If you see that there's not a lot of time left for you to kill the survivors, and all of the toy parts have been donated, except for 1, you could use that sabotage last second and slow the game down a bit. So it is pretty helpful overall. So I'm gonna put it a good B tier. Next one is the Prevent Escape. This basically forces all players out of the lockers and stops players from getting on the train. Now I tested this. If someone is in a train and you use this, they will come out of the train. And that is very, very helpful. But that is only if they are able to escape from the train in the first place. Here's the thing that I did while using this perk. Is as I used it and all players were forced out of the train, I was only able to get 1 or 2, and by the time I put that person into a vent, everything had opened up already. It doesn't last too long, and the cooldown is humongous. And so it's not that helpful when that happens. And that's pretty much all it does. So I'm gonna get it at a good C tier. It's not the best. So, and it'll allow you to just like get that last hit in or something. But I do not just use this. Finally is the Grab Pack perk. Sabotage. The Grab Pack Sabotage is, in my opinion, the best Sabotage. What it does, it prevents all players from being able to use a backpack for a set amount of time. I believe the fully upgraded time is 45 seconds. Now you might be thinking that, yeah, that's pretty bad. But here's the thing. It can prevent so many things from happening. For example, you are chasing a survivor, they can no longer shut down crash doors, they can no longer go on swings, they can no longer do anything really other than just run. Not only that, but it prevents all players from using puzzle pillars. So, for a set amount of time. Now, yes, players can repair each other's puzzle packs by going behind them and such, but no one really does that anyways. Most of the survivors are spread out when they're doing puzzle pillars. So you won't find that. And the most handy thing is being able to prevent people from escaping the sewers. When you throw someone in the vent and someone tries to help them by putting their hand pack into the vent, you will see on those tied that there's someone escaping. When you use this ability during that moment, all players will stop being able to use their hands. Now, I don't know if this prevents people from using their hands in the sewer, but if so, that is even more overpowered, even with or without that. So that's why this is going at S tier right now. It is probably one of the best sabotages in the game for how OP it is to prevent people from getting out of the sewers. And it stops people from escaping you, and it basically disables every survivor's move 100%. So you're gonna find that this is gonna be the best sabotage. I think I like this tier list overall. Alright, next is the survivor perks for Project Playtime. We're gonna start with the crouch. So the crouch perk allows you to move faster while crouched. In my opinion, this is one of the worst perks in the game. Think about it. When are you ever crouched in the game? And although you go to around the same speed as someone that's running when crouched, this only just decreases the amount of noise you make, which, yes, is helpful a bit, but overall, it doesn't help you a lot considering the monster. It doesn't help you run away from the monsters, it just helps you to stay silent. But there is still footsteps, so this still is going in D tier because it's just a terrible perk overall. This next perk is going to be the Fading Footsteps perk. Now, the Fading Footsteps basically allows your footsteps that follow behind you that the monsters can see to disappear much faster. The highest percentage is 30%, so it goes away around 1/3 faster. This is actually pretty good, although the percentage is pretty low, so unfortunately it's not extremely good in my opinion, but if you're going up against a monster which constantly uses the footsteps to find you, like a very pro player, this can be very helpful. Although, it's not that helpful. So I'm putting it at B tier. Yeah, it's alright, but not that good. Next one is the next 3 I'm going to be doing, the ones that help you with puzzle pillars. This one slows down the reaction time thing, where there's a circle and you got to click on the colors that light up. It slows down the time so that you're able to do it without mistakes. This one's actually terrible. You like very rarely ever need help with that puzzle. It's one of the easiest puzzles in the game, so I'm gonna put it at D tier. And although you run the risk of having an error, having a fault in the puzzle, and the monster's loaded to position, it really affects you anyways. And the next one is for the memory thing, where there's a whole bunch of buttons that light up on the screen, and you have to memorize which ones they are. This is one of a pretty bad perk, in my opinion as well, because this is actually the second easiest puzzle, although there's only 3. And the reason why I say, the reason I'm going to put this in C tier and not D tier because it's pretty bad, is not only does a few people have trouble with memorizing all of these, but I would put it in B tier actually if it was, because the puzzle's pretty difficult, but I'd put it down to C tier because there's a little known fact: if you just take your right hand off the activation of the puzzle pillar, you can just reset it, so you don't have to worry about running there's no time. Then you could reset the puzzle so you can redo it, so you won't create an error. And yeah, that's why I'm putting it in C tier. Next is going to be the running faster. Now the running faster is actually pretty good. You don't have to activate any of these automatically activate. So the running is actually going to I'll put this at A tier. A tier is pretty good because overall, running fast throughout the entire map is pretty handy. And although it's only like 15% at the max level, it's still very, very handy to be able just to go around escape from the monster easier and overall. Although it does walking speed, so I don't know if it also applies to your running speed. I don't think it does, so I don't think it's that good anyways, but still, A tier, because it's a pretty good thing. Next is the piano. Now, the piano puzzle, in my opinion, is the hardest. Not only does it force you to use your memory more often, but it takes a very, very long time to do that puzzle. I'm going to put it at S tier because at the max tier, it lowers the amount of times you need to do it by 3. That means you only have to press, you only have to do 3 of the puzzles on the piano puzzle. So you can do it super, super, super fast. Unlike the other 2 puzzle helpers, these 2 right here, those do not make your time with the puzzle faster. This one does, significantly. Like, I would say about 4 times as fast. You can do this puzzle 4 times as fast with this perk. And so that's going to be very helpful going around the map and doing all those. Next is going to be healing. I'm going to put healing at A tier. Healing someone faster? No, healing. This does healing. So when actually, no, I'm going to put it at B tier, I think. This is healing. So when you're near someone and you can heal them. And it'll also heal you if you heal them as well. So unfortunately, you don't get to heal yourself unless someone else is damaged like you. But healing is good overall. Even if it's just one tick, you can heal someone. So it's useful in some way, unlike some other perks. So I'm putting it in B tier. Next is going to be the shield. Shield gives you extra health, so you don't get downed as fast. I'd say it's a very, very pretty good perk. I'll put it in A tier. It's a good A tier perk. And although Although having extra health sometimes really helps, because once a monster is on top of you, it's pretty much the end for you anyways. It's still a very, very, very handy perk to have all around. It's just pretty good. You can use it, especially on Boxy Boo, where you can get away from them easier and he just constantly brings them towards you. And finally is the Bring Up perk. This perk is okay. I'm going to be putting it in B tier, because unlike C and D tiers, which are effectively not that useful, B tier actually can be useful. It revives people from the vents faster, and although it's not that handy in the long term, because well, you revive people fast. The speed to revive people is already pretty fast anyways, and there's a whole bunch of tips and tricks that you could do to be able to revive them at a distance so the monster can't get to you. There's really no need to have this perk in the first place. You can use it on other things like running faster or more health. And so yeah, that's going to be all of the sabotages and perks for Project Playtime. Please like and subscribe. I'm almost at 1,000 subscribers, and that's when I can start making money. So I won't make a lot, like a few cents, but I like doing this for fun, and I appreciate you guys helping me. Ring that notification bell or something. Apparently that makes me money. But I'll see you in the next video. Bye bye.